Ooh.
Good morning.
Everybody. Morning, Alan. All right.
Good morning.
Has everyone got the run sheet?
Yes, Ronnie.
Renford.
You know, man.
I'm not sure. You got my email?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, that's a connection. Because I'm on the road at the moment.
Ronnie? Whoever is hosting. Host? Who is hosting now? Host? So I'm not hearing. So if anybody's talking, I'm not hearing. I just heard a little about 1 second a while ago. So I'm not hearing. So if I'm not hearing.
Good morning, everybody. I am hoping that everyone can hear me clearly, and just want to thank you all for being here for our Road and Public Service Forum. It's my name is Ronnie Dane Renford. I'm the marketing officer for Portland Credit Union, and it is my esteemed pleasure to welcome the persons who are in attendance here and those to come to educate not just Portlanders, but the wider Jamaica on the road and public safety issues that would affect not just us, but the wider world. So I just want to give you a rundown on why we are here. Last night, looking at the road safety page, the road safety page, we noticed that we are at 360 fatalities. I know Dante will speak more to that. And we want to just, in approaching the holiday, look at ways to curb that and to actually help in protecting our nation roadways, and in particular the pedestrians and the motorists that are on the roadway. We at Portland Credit Union, we don't just intend to save money, but we want to actually help in preserving and saving lives. The speakers here in attendance today would be Dante Matthews, Education and Information Officer from the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority. Ms. Verlanie Campbell, Deputy Superintendent for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Portland. Abigail Scott, Sales Associate for Puna Mutual. Omar Barnes, District Officer for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Norman Tai, Transportation Planner for the National Works Agency, and the General Manager for the Portland Credit Union, Mr. Martin Blackwood. As an accident survivor, this forum is one that is dear to my heart. Remembering the process, the journey, and knowing that seatbelt actually saves lives. Having a vehicle overturned on the Yuatan Main Road back in 2013, and now looking at what is happening on the roadways, seeing the kids playing in the corners, in addition to the increase in accidents, not just in Portland, but across Jamaica. It is part of the credit union principle for our concern to community to create forums of this nature. And this is why we ask the persons in attendance to share, and we just look forward to hearing from them ways in which we can help to preserve the lives of Jamaicans through through protecting them from road fatalities. We know that from the credit union, we would have been aware that persons would have taken loans for motor vehicles, and them having taken loans for the motor vehicle and the motor vehicle meeting an accident, it is something that many persons in most cases are not comfortable with, because then you have a loan to repay and you don't have the access to the vehicle that you have. And we want to help our membership protect themselves from these kind of instances where they have a loan and don't have a motor vehicle to drive. So without further ado, I want to welcome Dante Matthews from the Island Traffic Authority, the Education and Information Officer, to share a little bit more on the current status of our road fatalities and what are the things that we can do as a nation to curb these issues. Dante?
Good morning, everyone. Are you hearing me clearly? Okay. All right. So the Road Safety Unit, which is now a part of the Island Traffic Authority, we promote and foster a safe traffic environment for all road users, and we do this through public education, public relations, communications. We do audits and inspections of roadways. We do analysis of data. So when the police gets the report from a crash, we get the data, we analyze. So our unit is able to tell, the amount of persons that have died, how many were males, how many were females, how many were children, how many were, which parish is leading, which age group is a troublesome age group, all of that. So our analysis unit does that. And in terms of the Island Traffic Authority, which we're a part of, we administer the provisions of the Road Traffic Act, and the Road Traffic Act speaks to road and vehicular safety. So when it comes to our examination deposit, talking about certificates of fitness, driver's license, assessing for driver's license and all of that. So I'm happy to be a part of this forum because, road safety is everybody's business. Let me just close this tab quickly. All right. Yeah, so road safety is everybody's business. We are approaching what we call the silly season or the festive season. So a lot of what we call shatter driving will be going on. A lot of drinking and driving, and a lot of persons rushing to parties, rushing to airport to do pickups or coming from airports. A lot of that will be happening. And so we want to spread the road safety message so everybody can be safe on the roadways. And so when it comes to our statistics now, up to Mr. Renford mentioned that he was looking at our page yesterday and he saw 360. Now the report that came in this morning showed 361, but in addition to that, I was reading a story and I received some information about a crash that took place in Westmoreland this morning after 6, and it involved 2 students driving on a motorcycle, crashed into another vehicle. And when I read the story, I had to call the principal just to confirm. And it's indeed true. 2 students were driving on a motorcycle to school. The 2 of them died. And we're waiting to hear about the driver of the motor vehicle, but the 2 students died. They were heading to school. They're from Petersfield High. And when I read the story, it was kind of like I felt away because we went to that school 2 weeks ago. We went with Transport Authority. We spoke to them about the learner's permit because we have been receiving reports about students driving illegally to school, whether it be by motorcycle or motor cars. We've been receiving reports of them driving to schools, and some schools have banned that, right? Well, a lot of schools have banned that. And what you realize that they're doing is driving close to the school, parking the vehicle, or they're parking the vehicle at a friend's house, at a stall. They're charging down the road and then they go to school. And that's one of the issues we're having, especially in Western Jamaica with the motorcycles. So it's a case like that this morning. They were driving the motorcycle to school and that happened after 6. So that has not come in the report as yet, but I'm just noting that. So now we're at 363. So yeah, so yesterday a pillion passenger died. That brought it to 361, and then the two fatalities this morning, a motorcyclist and another pillion passenger, brought it up to 363. So when we look at that now, the 363 compared to last, and that 363 resulted from, well, now it would result from 330 crashes, fatal crashes. And compared to last year this time we had 426 road fatalities. So I don't want to say, even though it is trending down, it's still nothing good. It's nothing to celebrate, right? Because we're losing mothers, we're losing fathers, brothers, sisters, everybody, right? So 329 fatal crashes, resulting in 363 deaths. And as I mentioned, the latest 3 involved motorcyclists. 2 pillion passengers, one motorcyclist. All right, so when we look at our parishes now, Westmoreland is leading out of all the 14 parishes. Westmoreland recorded, well, it's now 59. So with the 2 this morning, it's 59. And followed by St. Andrew with 40, followed by St. Catherine with 45. And then we have St. Andrew with 44. So those are the top 3 parishes with the fatalities. And we can understand why Westmoreland is leading when we look at the amount of motorcycle fatalities coming out of that parish. And not only motorcycle fatalities, but that road user category is leading when it comes to Western Jamaica. St. Elizabeth is also trending up. We're realizing a lot of fatal crashes when it comes to motorcycles in that parish as well. Hanover also. So St. Catherine is second, and then St. Andrew is third. Because Portland this is a Portland Credit Union Forum, I decided to highlight that we lost 10 persons so far in Portland. So Portland is not in the top 5. Portland is one of those parishes that I would say it's not even in the top 10, if I remember correctly. But so 10 persons have died. I think Portland, St. Mary, and St. Thomas, they are the 3 with the least amount of fatalities. But 10 persons still not good, right? We don't want to lose anybody at all. All right, so the top 3 categories now. So we spoke about the top 3 parishes. The top 3 categories of road users. 1, motorcyclists. 114 motorcyclists out of the 363. 114 were motorcyclists. Followed by pedestrians, 66. 66. So private motor vehicle drivers, would be second with 69. And then pedestrians would be 66. So those are the top 3. And our males are accounted for the highest. So we have out of the 363 fatalities, we had 313 males and 48 females. So it means that our males, we're losing brothers, fathers, sons, persons who are considered or usually are the breadwinners in the family. So families are broken, families are, wondering, how they're gonna make it. And we also have an issue when it comes to our healthcare system, because when we have these fatalities, or not just fatalities, or crashes, and they have to be going to hospitals, they take up spaces in the hospital. A lot of just yesterday, an orthopedic surgeon did an interview regarding fatal crashes and the amount of cases, being recorded at the hospitals with motor vehicle crashes, especially motorcyclists, and the injuries that they present with. So we're talking about broken bones, toes. We have an issue when it comes to our motorcyclists driving without helmets, right? Driving without helmets, driving without elbow pad, knee pad, shin guard, driving in slippers, driving in shorts. So when they crash off the bike and they run on the asphalt, the skin is drawn on the asphalt, that's a problem. And those are some of the injuries. And normally when we do our presentations, we show some of these injuries people don't normally like to see, but we normally caution them that listen, some graphic images are coming up next because we want to show them, especially when we talk to motorcyclists, we want to show them what happens when you ride in slippers, when you ride in shorts, when you don't wear your helmet. And we're talking about proper protective gear, right? So the proper helmet, the helmet that has the correct size first, right? The correct size, protective padding, retention strap, face shield. And we know we have some people who just put on those helmets that look like a bucket or a potter. So it has nothing to strap on. So as you swerve, it flies off your head. So that's an issue when it comes to our motorcyclists, not wearing proper protective gear. Another issue is removing headlights, removing mirrors, right? So we always ask them, how do you see when you remove the mirrors? And an investigation that a survey that we did, we found out that some of them remove the mirrors from the bike so that they can cut through traffic easily. So removing the mirrors make the bike slim, right? And they do a lot of lane splitting. So they don't stay in their lanes. They do a lot of lane splitting. They do wheelies, or we call the stunts, we call them wheelies. And in the Road Traffic Act and under the regulations, there's a fine for that. The pillion passengers are not wearing helmet, and the pillion passengers are condoning the foolishness. So they're driving badly with you as a pillion passenger. You're not saying anything. You're enjoying the ride, and then the two of you die, or in some cases 3 or 4, because you know that the maximum amount of person that should be on a bike is 2. But we have some cases where you have 3, 4, 5, 6 people on a bike, right? And that's an issue. Or young people, when it comes to the age group now, or young people, the 20 to 29 age, 20 to 29 years old age group, that's a troublesome age group. So those are the ones who are, doing the shutter driving, driving without seatbelt, not wearing the proper gear, the ones who just get them license and want to, they want to go Negril from Warren Point to Negril and all of that. They want to explore the road. We have also seen where the elderly people, so 60 and over, they have a high number when it comes to fatalities as well. And most of those are like pedestrians also. So you realize that they're walking out into the roadway. So they just step onto the pedestrian crossing, they walk out into the roadway, or they try to run across the roadway, in their elderly stage. Some of them are pedal cyclists as well. Some of them are drivers, and the Road Traffic Act speaks to drivers over 70 they have to in order to renew their driver's license now under the Road Traffic Act, they have to do a medical. Once they're 70 and over, they have to do a medical before they can renew their driver's license. So those are some of the issues we're facing. Some other issues that we're realizing when it comes to the main causes of our fatalities, we're seeing speeding as the number 1 cause of our fatalities. So speeding with no regard to conditions, right? So whether it rains, whether the sun shines, whether there's fog, for example, when you're driving on the north-south highway early in the morning, you see the fog. Whether it's fog, whether it's smoke, whether there are potholes on the roadway, so whatever the condition, whether it's permanent or temporary conditions, people are speeding, right? Then we have pedestrians walking out or standing in the middle of the road, which is another cause of the fatalities. Person just step out into the roadway, and in Jamaica we have this culture where persons step out into the roadway, and they say, you hear them say to the driver, "Lick me if you're bad," or another to do, lick me, or you have insurance, or so. Some of us are barefaced, so we step out into the roadway and we bad up the driver, tell the driver to lick quick.
True, man. I have no behavior on that.
That's true. Right, so we have that issue, and I mean, I wasn't planning. I was wondering if I could show a video. If you would permit me, is a video. I usually show videos when I'm doing presentations. So
Go ahead, Dante. Go ahead.
let me just find it quickly. I didn't intend on sharing it, but as like what I'm talking about it, let me just pull it up quickly. So yeah, we have an issue when it comes to Jamaicans crossing the road. We step out in the road and we cut we eye, and we do all kind of things. Hold on, let me just. All right, so I'm gonna share screen now. And this video is about how Jamaicans cross the road. Oh, you disabled. I can't share screen. Mr. Renford? Not hearing you. You're on mute.
You can go ahead now. You can go ahead and share.
Alright. So let me just play this one. All right, let me know if you're seeing the screen.
Yeah.
Are you hearing also?
Not seeing this video.
Repeat?
Not seeing the video. Bring the video screen to front.
Are you sure you're not seeing the screen? Hold on.
We're hearing, but I'm seeing the folders, not the video.
Oh, hold on. Let me. Are you seeing it now when I open? Still not
No.
seeing?
Still not seeing.
Hold on, let me stop sharing and go again. I don't know why that's an issue. Hold on.
Share from the player.
What about now? Are you seeing?
Still in the
Still-
folder.
Still nothing?
Still in the folder. We
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how open with, let me try open with media player. Are you seeing what I'm doing on the screen, as in the option that I'm looking at?
yeah.
All right, let me try. Are you still not seeing when I open it? Still nothing?
Nothing.
All right, I don't know what's happening. Hold on. Advanced sharing option. Because if you're seeing the folder, you should be.
What?
All right, I have it in. Let me see if I can. Hold on, this.
Dante, open the player.
Wait, repeat that for me.
You will open the player and then you share to the player after. But let's continue in the interest of time for the others.
All right, let me continue. If anything at the end, I can do it. But let me continue. All right. So yes, I was talking about the main causes of the crashes or of the fatalities. And so the third one now is drivers failing to keep to the proper traffic lane. So, you know, in Jamaica, we drive on the left, we keep left pass, right? But we have some people, we create a second lane or a third lane, and we all over the place on the road. When we overtake, for example, on the highway, when you're driving in the left and you overtake on the right, you stay in the right lane and you drive slow and all of that. So, you know, those are some of the issues that we face. All right, so what the unit has been doing. So as I mentioned, we have been doing a lot of public education, and these public education activities take many formats. So we have our social media campaigns, we have our ads on television, on radio, in the newspaper. We do active public education in schools, and as discussed with Mr. Renford the other day, we're supposed to have a visit in Portland. He said because of the rain, it's postponed, so it should be on Friday. I think that's Kenwright Primary. So we're doing some visits in Portland. We have done visits in Clarendon, all over. So we go all over. We don't discriminate, and we go everywhere. Sometimes schools will send requests to us based on the need that they have realized. So for example, the other day we were at Tollgate Primary because the new highway, well, the Macon to Williamsfield leg of the highway, there's an exit right at Tollgate, and there's a primary school right at that exit. And you know, because of that exit, there's gonna be more traffic in that area. There's a traffic sign there, traffic light there now, pedestrian crossing, push button. So the school invited us to, you know, educate their students and teachers also about proper road use, and also to show them how to use the pedestrian push button. Schools have invited us based on the fact that the school is on a hotspot roadway. And because of that, they have invited us to talk to them because students have been exiting taxis or their parents' vehicles and they just dash across the road. So that those concerns have been raised. We have like issues where students are walking on the road and they're playing on the road, fighting on the road, jumping on the back of vehicles, playing in potholes, in puddles of water on the roadway. So those are some of the issues that have been relayed to us, and we have taken action in terms of going to the presentation. And when we go to these schools, what we do, we have a PowerPoint, yes, with videos and everything, and we give them the tips. And then we have a practical aspect where we use the pedestrian crossing. So we have a vinyl pedestrian crossing that we set out, whether it's in the classroom or on the corridor. And we have signs and cones and a steering wheel cover. So we make it a little interactive, and we show them how to cross the road using what we call the curb drill or the hand in the air drill. And from time to time, we go with the police as well. From PSTEB, the officers from PSTEB, Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, we're partnered with them to go to the school because they have a they have a bus that they go with, and they have a replica of the roadway. So like literal, they call it now, is that rubber or I don't remember the material. So they lay it out on the school compound, pedestrian crossing, and they walk on it, and we show them how to use the roadway properly, how to cross, how to raise their hand, and also the proper way to cross the road, which is looking right, then left, then right. Because when we go to the schools and we ask them how you cross the road, they tell us up and down, right? Some tell us left, right, then left, but we tell them right, then left, then right. And we tell them the reason why we look to the right first, which is in Jamaica, we drive on the left side of the road. So when we're standing, waiting to cross the road, the vehicle to our right would be the left lane coming down. So that's the first lane of traffic that will hit you if you step out into the road without looking. So we try to instill that in the, you know, in their minds and all of that. So we do our public education in schools. We also do corporate presentations. So we have companies from time to time who will invite us to speak with their drivers, their fleet of drivers. So, you know, companies who do deliveries, for example, the other day we did some at restaurants of Jamaica, you know, they do deliveries, they have bikemen, they have trucks, they have some commercial vehicles. We give tips of commercial drivers, bike riders, regular motor car drivers and all of that. And yes, so we do presentations to fleet of drivers. In addition to that, we do presentations to regular drivers, especially with the passage of the Road Traffic Act. We do, for example, we do outside broadcast. We go to different locations based on the need. So the other day in June, when we had Road Safety Month, we were at the Hartford Transport Center. We had one in October up by Crossroads. We're having one on Friday, broadcasting from our office, and I'm happy that I see some of the potential. I want some of I'm seeing NAA and fire brigade and the police, and I'm gonna need them to do interviews on Friday. So I'm gonna be needing the contacts to talk about road safety. We have a learner driver education program in schools where we target high school students. And as I mentioned, the report where they're driving illegally. So we have an initiative where we're targeting the high schools, doing presentations and then assisting them with getting their learner's permit at the school. So we bring the depot to the schools for them to get their learner's permit. And one of the requirements for the learner's permit is a road code test. So we allow them to sit the road code test on campus in order to get their learner's permit. We partner with HEART currently for the LIFT program. I think LIFT stands for Learning for a Transformation, something. The Prime Minister launched it. So we're assisting applicants across the constituencies to get their learner's permit as well. We also have motorcycle trainings that we do with the National Road Safety Council to train motorcyclists in hotspot areas across the country. We give them presentations. The police come as well. We have professionals who come in and train them how to maneuver the bikes. And at the end of the program, they get free helmets because we want to ensure that they are safe on the roads. And our unit continues to do all that we can to educate the public so that we can stay under 400. Last year we had 488, and we don't want to go anywhere near that. We're at 363 now. I'm hoping it doesn't pass 400, and that's where we're at. So this is the end of my presentation. We're on social media, so Road Safety Unit, JA on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also Island Traffic Authority across all platforms. So your respective companies can follow. I know they probably follow us already, but for persons who are on YouTube or so, persons who are listening, watching, can follow our pages. We have many tips, information about learner's permit, driver's license, fitness, everything, all the services of the ITA and what we do at Road Safety Unit. You can find them there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dante. Before you run, I know you gave us a very informative presentation. I just want to speak on the road users and the use of indicators. I think that's one of the big issues along the roadways, and
Yes.
the misleading signals from the indicators. And in addition, tell us, could you share to the public how they can get in contact with you with your unit for sessions, whether for the offices or for the schools?
Okay. So indicator, the other day I saw a meme that says, the Lord moves in mysterious ways. You don't have to use your indicators. Because we have some drivers out here, you have to wonder if their indicators work. Like you see them turning, and the only way you realize that they're turning is when they're actually turning. So they don't put on the indicator when they're turning left or right. Some of them put on the indicator while they're turning, when you are already too close to them. Right. So we have an issue when it comes to that, and the act speaks to and the regulations speak to a fine for that failure to indicate, I think. So we don't want to ensure persons use their indicator. And even when overtaking, persons don't use their indicators. Some persons overtake improperly. So we recommend that persons do not overtake where the line is unbroken. Do not overtake at a pedestrian crossing, on a bridge, at a corner. Check your mirrors and use the indicator, because the indicator is very important. It tells a driver behind you or drivers behind you, what your intention is. And we also recommend defensive driving. So observe the actions of others, because you have people who will not indicate, and if you are too close to them, so we recommend the 3-second rule. And if you're a commercial vehicle driver like heavy vehicles, trucks, and so 6 to 7 second rule, where you basically give yourself enough time or enough distance behind that driver, so that if anything should happen, you can break up and there won't be any impact. Also, in terms of how persons can get in contact with us, or so apart from our social medias, our social media platforms, you can send us an email at rsu@mtw.gov.jm. So that's RSU, and I'm going to put it in the chat, rsu@mtw.gov.jm. Also, Island Traffic Authority messages at DITA@mtw.gov.jm. And our phone number is 754-1900. So you can send us a request whether you want us to come and do a school presentation. We do school presentations right across the board, or you want us to talk to your company. You want us to educate them about the Road Traffic Act. We can do that, or you give us a call. Or for me, since I'm the one who really coordinate the presentations or the public education sessions, you can email me directly at dmatthews@mtw.gov.jm or 876-797-3945. All right, so I put the information in the chat.
All right. Thank you, Dante. Really appreciate your sharing, and we definitely look forward to more in the partnership with the Portland Credit Union and the Road Safety Unit, as we aim to promote better road usage and get that number below 300 if possible. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Next for us this afternoon is Norman Tai. Norman, if you are able to remove your microphone so we can hear from the NWA as it relates to road development and maintenance. I know you are out for a session now, and hopefully if you are not available, just indicate to me.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm available. I just pulled off to the side. I'm practicing road safety. So I'm off to the side. I'm currently on a site visit, but yes, I'm able to share my bit now with the team. So yes, as was introduced, I'm Norman Tai. I'm a transportation planning engineer at the National Works Agency. And I'll really be quickly speaking on road safety engineering. And I want to start off this little bit by actually following on from what the road safety unit from Dante has just presented. I'll just give you a bit of context as to some of the key facts from the World Health Organization. I mean, and Dante had mentioned a couple of them as well. And I don't want to mention that though Jamaica has a grave problem when it comes to fatalities and injuries that are recorded on the road, it is something that is recorded or it's something that is being observed worldwide. And there's a disproportionate, well, I would say young adults and young males, as Dante had mentioned, are disproportionately affected. And developing countries as well are disproportionately affected. And the issue with that is that it causes a huge impact on our gross domestic product, whereas perhaps other countries can afford it. We really cannot afford the impact that casualties and injuries have on our economy. So it really requires us to take all the initiatives and take all the measures that we can to ensure safety on our roads. So I'm appreciative of something like this where we can bring awareness and bring education to as many persons as possible. And moving from the key facts, I just want to highlight some of the risk factors, again, that go towards injuries or fatalities or casualties on our roads. And the World Health Organization mentions speeding, driving under influence of alcohol, the non-use of motorcycle helmets, seatbelts, and child restraints, which Dante had mentioned as well, distracted driving, unsafe vehicles, inadequate post-crash care, inadequate law enforcement of traffic laws, and of course, which I'll be talking on now, is the unsafe road infrastructure. So even before I get into the road infrastructure, typically in road safety, there are certain approaches that we tend to take. Some of us here might be familiar with the 3 E's approach, which is education, enforcement, and engineering. In recent times, that has been expanded to include things like emergency services, evaluation, and engagement. There's also, again, on the other side of things, the safe system approach, which seeks to eliminate fatal serious injuries, which has more of a proactive type of measures rather than reactive. This approach understands that people make mistakes, and this approach shares responsibility across all forums, all facets. So it's not just those who are in charge of designing the road infrastructure that has a responsibility for road safety. It also includes law enforcement. It also includes entities such as road safety units. It also includes policymakers and lawmakers. We all share responsibility when it comes down to road safety. And of course, this approach, the safe system approach, also includes redundancies in the system to ensure that everyone is kept safe on the road. So within this approach, if we look at the 3 E's approach, for example, which is education, enforcement, and engineering, when it comes down to the design of roads, us engineers will have to be of say with what we call road safety engineering. And I just want to read off a bit of a definition here. Road safety engineering is a process based on analysis of road and traffic related crash information, which applies engineering principles in order to identify road design or traffic management improvements that will reduce the number and severity of road crashes in the most cost-effective manner. And there are 3 things that I want to highlight there out of that definition. 1, the first, engineering principles, which I will touch on. 2, road design. And 3, traffic management. And one thing that I'll also want to mention is that engineering solutions and it's something that we can't overemphasize. All engineering solutions need to be road and road user specific. So it's not just a broad brush approach. We have to consider the types of roads, and we have to consider, when we're doing our design, the types of road users. And it's not all about vehicles, because as the World Health Organization says, one of the most critical groups are the vulnerable road users, which tend to be pedestrians, motorcyclists, and cyclists, not necessarily those in vehicles. So we have to consider, when we're doing our design, all road users, not just those who are behind the wheels, essentially. And in thinking about what engineering principles we use when we think of road safety engineering, there are three things or three principles that I would like to highlight. The first one is that our designs have to be homogeneous. And what that means is that it has to essentially be the same throughout. We have to have it standardized. So it can't be in Kingston and you see the roads looking one type of way, and going to Mobay and see the roads looking a different type of way, and you're totally confused as to how to use the roadway. It should be the same throughout the entire island, right? So if you move from Kingston to Mobay, the same driver should be able to navigate our road safely and understand how to use our road network. The other principle that I like to highlight when it comes down to road safety engineering and our design is that it has to be predictable. So in the event, perhaps, that a driver or a pedestrian or a motorcyclist is new to an area, whatever infrastructure is in place has to give them sort of an idea of what to expect in that environment. So if you are driving at, for example, if you're on a highway, the expectation based on the type of infrastructure that is there is that it is suited for higher speeds. Likewise, if you're in a community, the type of design and road infrastructure that we put down should give the expectation that it is for lower speed and give the expectation that pedestrians are able to move freely or to move where provision is made for them. And the third principle is that our designs and infrastructure have to be forgiving. We understand that people make mistakes, and when those persons make mistakes on our road, it shouldn't be a death sentence. So our road design should allow for people to make mistakes to some extent and be able to recover from those mistakes. And one thing that we mention a lot nowadays with road safety engineering is what is called self-explaining roads, and which is essentially which encompasses all of what I just mentioned. If you're on a road, it should be easy to understand. And a lot of that comes down to things like speed. What critical speed limits or credible speed limits we can put in place for certain road types or certain road infrastructure. And when we as highway engineers or transportation engineers or traffic engineers do our design, that is one of the key elements that sets the tone for everything else. Speed, and then ensuring that whatever design is put down has the correct safety measures for traveling at that speed. And also to ensure that the infrastructure around the roadway communicates effectively to the driver or to the motorcyclist or to the pedestrian the type of speeds to be expected on that road so that they can conduct themselves correctly, basically. So there are a number of different engineering considerations that we take into consideration. So speed helps us to inform what the visibility is and sight distance. So for example, on the highway, in order for persons, the motorists now, since highways tend to cater mostly for motorists, persons that are in vehicles, in order for you to drive safely at higher speeds, we want to ensure that, for example, or the typical standard that we go by here in Jamaica we want to ensure that, for example, an object, any object that is 2 feet high is detectable in your line of sight at some distance away from the vehicle given your speed, right? So, or bends within the roadway, or how the road goes over a hill, or how the road goes through a valley depends on that line of sight, because we want you to be able to safely come to a stop or safely maneuver around an object or an obstacle should you detect it. So line of sight and visibility are some of the key features when it comes down to safety on our road. We of course consider traffic flow, the types and the quantities of traffic flow. We consider type of maneuvers and movements that we want to facilitate. So in certain high speed areas, what you recognize is that the movements on and off that highway tend to be limited because that is just catering solely for higher speed. If we were to include a whole lot of intersections and high speed, you will have high speed roads, you will have more opportunities for conflict. And then of course, conflicts bring about crashes, and crashes have the opportunity to bring about casualties or injuries. And we want to reduce that. So our maneuvers, that is how we turn or make movements on a road are dictated by the speed and the types and the volumes of vehicles that travel on that road. So one person to be able to make those turning movements at a safe place and at a safe speed. The road geometry, and I mentioned that earlier, is one of the key things that allows for safety, especially for motorists. The curves cannot be too sharp for high speeds, or it cannot go too sharply over a hill. We want to ensure that the road surface as well has enough friction to provide stopping at the correct stopping site or passing site distances. So we have to ensure that our pavement structure is up to standard. And of course, one of the things that I mentioned earlier for engineering considerations is that our traffic signs and signals have to be in place. Because for whatever road you are traveling on, it should be able to communicate to you how to operate that road. And what communicates that message to us are our traffic signs or our traffic signals. And I want to mention for those, some persons may not know, but those road markings, things that Jamaican we call white lines, those by law are also called traffic signs. So it's there for you to know how to use the road. So if you see an arrow, for example, that goes straight ahead, that lane is designated for vehicles to go straight ahead. And if you see a lane that has an arrow that turns to the right, of course, it's for vehicles to turn right. And sometimes a lane may have an arrow that goes both straight and right. So the driver should understand that that lane is shared and can be used for persons who turn right and who go straight ahead. And all this is necessary because when it comes down to the other E's that I mentioned in the 3 E's approach, which is enforcement, that is necessary so that if there is an infraction of the law or infraction of those signs, the police knows what to do. And it also comes into play when our insurance persons or even or persons who make claims from accidents, they know what the road usage is to support whatever their claims may be. So traffic signs and traffic signals are key components to road safety. And it also means then that as the National Works Agency, which is part of our mandate, is that there should be maintenance of these type of infrastructure, both the road surface, the road structure, and also the traffic signs and the signals. Unfortunately, that is where I would say where there is definitely some need for improvement. But we are working to ensure that our roads, as always, are safe for persons to navigate on, and that includes ensuring that the surfaces are up to date, the traffic signs and traffic signals are all in place, and to ensure that we stick to our design standards, whether it is the NAA itself that they are doing the infrastructure, or whether it is that is some contractual work that are undergoing. We want to ensure and conduct our own assessments and audits that the infrastructure that we put down are up to standard and are able to facilitate vehicles and pedestrians and motorcyclists, all road users, able to facilitate them moving in a safe manner. So, that are some of the, that really concludes what I have to say. Those are some of the considerations that we have to take from a more technical engineering point of view in terms of developing our roads and maintaining it in order to ensure safety. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Thank you, Norman. Before you run, we appreciate you sharing on the 3 E's, and as you said, the E's are extended, and we really look forward to knowing how can the public get to the National Works Agency to learn more. Dante had asked initially that you guys be a part of a forum coming on Friday. You know, these are we believe that education is one of the main factors that will help us to get the road fatalities down. And you shared about the signage on the roadways and again the road geometrics. And those are things that persons often don't take into consideration. I remember Dante speaking about the fog over the roadways, other little things that would have affected road users in using the roadways properly. So, you know, persons would want to possibly have you for different forums, different events. Like ourselves, we wish to have education like this shared in Portland. Despite us being way down, we want to maintain that as part of our advertisement for Portland, that we have low fatalities or no fatalities on the roadways. And with the road development here, it is something that we definitely look forward for persons to understand what are some of the things that are, what are some of the reasons behind the structures put in place for the roadway. And for that, could you just share how persons could reach to you so we can actually have others reach out for future?
Sure, no problem. You can always contact the National Works Agency at 926-3210, and you can ask for the communications department. They'll always be willing and able to provide assistance when it comes down to any type of education or promotional aspect. For more technical things, when it comes down to the engineering side of things, if you may, you can contact myself. You can reach out to me via email, and I will do the same as before. I'll share my email in the chat. But those listening, it's Norman Tai, that is NORMANTAI at nwa.gov.jm. You can reach me at those, and we're always open to helping to educate as well in terms of the types of infrastructure that are out there, and how we design the way that we design our roadways. So sometimes persons may not understand, and it's only when they have that certain conversation, perhaps with a little bit more technicalities, then understand, oh, this is actually for a reason. So it's always good to have some sort of technical sense in the room when talking about road safety. So we're always happy and willing to assist in that case.
All right, thank you, Norman, and you be safe on the roadway getting to your site visit, and we do appreciate the discussion. We have with us next Miss Abigail Scott, who is from Kuna Caribbean, our insurance partner with the credit union, to speak to us on the family indemnity plan and other products to protect not just our motorists, but all the persons who Dante would have listed that would have gone missing just because of road fatality. Abigail.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. It's a pleasure to be here in this fashion, in this forum. I just want to start off by saying, Donnie mentioned it, my name is Abigail Scott, a sales associate with Kuna Caribbean Insurance Jamaica Limited. And, you know, my job here is just to provide, you know, what it means to be covered, to be protected, you know, when certain things happen in our life that we really don't want it to happen. It is unexpected, but we know that these things do happen, life do happen. So I want to start off by saying that a huge driving force to create a good road and public safety practices lies in the sense of personal responsibility. And that is first and foremost. So this fact is so as we all play a part in not only keeping ourselves safe while traversing the roadways, but also other road users and our families. And that is the reason why I'm here today. With that being said, Kuna Caribbean Insurance Jamaica Limited prides itself in creating a very good suite of products that ensures the protection of the entire family. So Ronnie mentioned that I'll be talking about the family indemnity plan and other products, but I just want to zone in on the family indemnity plan, aka the FIP. It is coined in such a way that gives easy access of coverage to all people. In this forum, we are focusing on road and public safety, and in that we must also remember that insurance coverage has a big role to play in providing protection if something happens to our road users. So Kuna Caribbean Insurance provides coverage with the FIP up to 3 generations of family in the event of death. Right? And yes, I said it, in the event of death. So a lot of times we don't want to hear that word. We don't want to think about it any at all, but it does happen. So for those that are hearing about this product for the first time, there is a waiting period of 6 months for a claim to be paid, with an exception for accidental deaths. So for some of the benefits, the monthly premium covers final expenses for the policyholder, and up to 5 eligible family members can be covered on a single policy. There is no medical examination required when you sign up. The policyholder is eligible to receive the full individual benefit per person. And I'm not smiling because, yes, it is good to have coverage, but it's also, you know, in a bad light to say that, you know, most of these 363 persons might not have insurance coverage. All right, so we have to really pay special attention in ensuring that we are covered. So we pay individual benefit per person where valid claims are made. So the policyholder will receive lifetime insurance coverage, once he or she applies before age 76 and the application is approved. Now, that is not a topic, as I mentioned before, that we Jamaicans like to talk about, but it is the only sure thing that we know will come. And for that reason, we want to reiterate the importance of being covered financially. Right? So, yes, I spoke about the family indemnity plan being a coverage in the event of death. But Dante said it that a lot of persons that pass or are injured in these road accidents are actually the breadwinners. And for that instance, the family indemnity plan coverage can be used to as a cushion for when these things happen. So we can look at certain things like at the also level, the loss of income and medical expenses associated with a crash can spell financial disaster, especially for those who already live on the brink of poverty. And we're talking about persons who might be living from hand to mouth, persons who are not, in a 9 to 5 or have a business of their own. We have to ensure that we are covered. And just to note that the family indemnity plan, as I mentioned before, is coined in such a way that the premiums are very, very reasonable and can fit in anybody's pockets. Yes, I know that we are talking about road and public safety, but as I mentioned before, that is important to ensure that we are protected, that we are safe, and that our families will be okay financially if something happens. Now, our premium starts as low as $422.40, and that is our plan A, and it covers each person on a single policy for 80,000 Jamaican dollars. Now, I mentioned that we have 11 different plan types, and that goes up to a plan K that covers each person for $2 million for a premium of $12,680. Now, I'm not staying long, right? And I just want to say that to everyone that is watching and will watch this Road and Public Safety Forum, that it is our duty to play our part in keeping each other safe, right? And I want you all to reach out to the Portland Cooperative Credit Union Limited to sign up for your family indemnity plan and other products that we provide. So along with this, we also have the critical illness rider, we have the life savings product, we have the life protection product, we also have the golden harvest. All of these are insurance components that can benefit you and your family to ensure that you are well protected, well covered in the event that you find yourself in a road accident with a disability or anything that will come with living life on a whole. So I do thank you for having me. And these are just what I want to share with you today.
Thank you, Abby. Really appreciate it. And we had to put that out there to the general public that you have solutions and there to help you and your family in the case that we have death, accidental death or otherwise through Kuna Caribbean. Really appreciate you're bringing that across, Abby, and we move forward to speaking with the Deputy Superintendent of Police for Portland, and we we ask for Miss Melanie Campbell to share with us on what police what the Portland Police will be doing to assist in keeping our numbers down for road safety, in addition to general public safety tips, especially coming into the holiday season and beyond. Ms. Campbell, thank you for sparing your time. I know you are very busy at this time of the year, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Pleasant afternoon. Thanks so much for inviting me to be a part of this forum, Mr. Renford. I must acknowledge the Portland Cooperative Credit Union for having such a very important function, especially at this time of the year, as also with the current development that is happening in our parish. So kudos, Sir Renford, and the credit union. Can I be allowed to share?
Give me a second, let me give you full permission. You can go ahead now. think you're muted.
Right. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we are seeing the screen. And we're hearing you now, loud and clear.
All right, then, very well. And for the other persons who are on the platform, a pleasant afternoon. And for the persons who will be listening otherwise, I realize that this is being streamed live. So I am Melanie Campbell, Deputy Superintendent of Police. I am the Operations Officer for Portland Division, Jamaica Constabulary Force. And this presentation is about road safety. Right, this is my scope. So I'll have an introduction, national statistics, our statistics here in Portland, strategies to improve road safety in Jamaica, enforcement through technology, enforcement through road policing activities, and look at a few changes and a summary. Over the past 3 years, that is 2020 to 2022, Jamaica has seen over 400 persons die on the road each year. Most of the collisions are due to human error, such as excessive speeding, improper overtaking, and drivers failing to keep left. The most vulnerable road users have been identified to be motorcyclists, pedestrians, and the private motor vehicle users. Note, approximately 85 to 90% of the persons who die are males. Right, so this is a table outlining the statistics for the past 3 years for the comparative period of January 1st to November 20th. Right, so when you look across all 3 years, we see where 2021 has had the most collisions, and 2022 has had the most deaths, right? So just take a moment, look across the columns, years, look at the months, and the total is reflected at the bottom of the table. Moving on, in Portland, so far, we have had a total of 9 fatal collisions, resulting in 10 deaths. When we look back for last year, we had 6 collisions for the entire year, and 6 persons died. So right away, you see that we have surpassed the figure for last year, and we have 1 month and a couple weeks to go, basically. Right, so we see there are a number of factors came into play in regards to why our statistic is like this. So I'm going to zoom in on the accidents, those 9 collisions that have occurred since the start of this year. Right, so we see where we had one in Passy Gardens, along the Passy Garden main road, that is on the 24th of February, pedestrian involved. The other we had along Folly Main Road on the 9th of April, pedal cyclists involved. Following that, this one should have been before, because on the 1st of April, we had one along Spring Garden Main Road, right? The 17th, we had one along Orange Main Road, right? And we see where a private motor vehicle was involved in that one. Along Hart Hill Main Road on the 5th of May, a private motor vehicle, River View Main Road. We see where we had a next private vehicle on the 17th of June at Snow Hill Main Road. We had a motorcyclist, that is on the 9th of July, along Allen Avenue on the 15th of September, pedestrian. So that is 2 pedestrians so far, and other motor vehicle, 1 pedal cyclist, right? And the last one that we got along Orange Bay Main Road, motorcyclist, and he had a pillion, and both persons died, male and female, right? So looking at it, we see where 3 persons died as a result of motorcycles, right? 2 pedestrians involved, as also the rest of the persons are from other motor vehicles, most of them private. So the other thing that we need to look at, right, are the locations. That Orange Bay Main Road stretch, right, where there is a lengthy straight road, we notice we have been getting quite a few accidents there, mostly due to speeding and improper overtaking. Spring Gardens Main Road, that is also one of the spots that we have been getting quite a few accidents, right? So right away, these 2 roads are designated our crash hotspots, right? So I want all the persons to be cognizant of this and operate with more care whilst traveling along these roads. So other accidents, non-fatal accidents, quite a number for Port Antonio. So far we have 108 collisions. OB have 30, Orange Bay 5, Buff Bay 25, Spring Hill 3, Sansan 2, Castle 2, Manchini 2, and Millbank 1. Right, so the far road stations are the station up in the hills, probably because of road condition and so on. We don't have much accidents there, because in terms of speeding, persons are not so well. Well, the vehicles will not be able, to speed without being seriously damaged. So Port Antonio has gotten a lot of attention in terms of our traffic management effort, and will continue, especially going into Yuletide season. Right, so strategies to improve road safety in Jamaica. So we have a safe systems approach. So steps are adopted from the safe system approach. It was adopted from Sweden's vision approach and sustainable safety approach in the Netherlands. The safe system approach is the systematic approach to identify and mitigate the risks that is affecting the transportation system and road users. This will assist in the safeguarding of all motorists, pedestrians to prevent vehicle accident from occurring and to also minimize the harm that these accidents can cause, which is serious injury or death. Comprises of 5 objectives. So we're going to look at safer people, safer speed, safer roads, and post-crash care. So safety has everything to do with people, right? And we notice that most of the collisions that are occurring is because of human error. How we drive. So persons adopted in Jamaica, a lot of persons, public transport operator, the private motorists, right, have adopted unsafe practices whilst driving. Everybody's in a hurry, overtaking in areas, right, where they cannot see clearly what is coming. Pedestrians, we notice it every day here in Port Antonio, right? Pedestrians just step in the roads and they are to come to a stop, right? Not realizing that vehicles are machines. And things will happen that whatever safety are that is implemented in some of these vehicles, sometimes it may fail. Safe pedaling, right? You see where a lot of the bicycle operators, they want to go against the one-way system, right? They move across the road at will without ensuring that it is safe. Right? So all of this is what roads on our roads is because of persons not adhering to proper safe habits. Safer vehicles, proper standard in building and assembling, right? So this one is technical. These are for the manufacturer of the vehicles to meet, right? Certain safety inspection and the safety boards in the different countries that manufacture and sell vehicles. But in terms of proper maintenance, some persons who are operating vehicles, they are not they barely take them to service. The inspections from the certifying officers in terms of them keeping their documents up to date to get their fees and so on, right? Some of these persons are not doing. So it places a vehicle that may be at fault on the road for other persons who are practicing safety to contend with. When we're going to go and look at the improvement in safety apparatus, right? So there's a lot of things that can be improved. Signage, walkways. In certain areas, our roadway is just too narrow. The surface of our roadways and so on. I heard Mr. Norman spoke about some of these things. And of course, most of our safety apparatus, so to speak, right, has to be contended with or remedied by the government. So drive at a moderate and safe speed. Right? So when you look at Portland, the highest that is legal is 80. And we see where persons at times, exceed 100 kilometers per hour and so on, right? So we have to and do the right thing, obeying the signs. We have several signs and persons with blatantly neglect these signs. So at a stop sign, they fail to come to a complete stop. Some may slow down, and there's a difference. Slowing down and stopping, and there's a difference. In a hurry, and no one or most persons, because there is still a few persons who try their best to do the correct thing, but most of the persons are not obeying the road signs. So, and again, when your ability to properly collision impacted. So township, we don't expect persons to, drive more than, 30 to 40, 50 out, like the outer roads and so on. The signage are there to indicate the areas that persons can step it up a little bit with, like 80, but we all need to drive at a safe speed so that we can prevent the collision. And if something is going wrong with the vehicle, we are able to come to a stop. Right? Again, safer roads. This is a matter for the government, and one of our presenters spoke to this. So the roads should be designed to mitigate mistakes by road users and pedestrians. Well, including pedestrians, signs and markings should be erected for guidance and obedience. So, in terms of an accident, because at times it may be impossible or to prevent certain things. But then again, if we take the necessary precautions, it will reduce the damages, because vehicles may fail and will fail, right? So how do we expect the post-crash care operate? So emergency assistance should be there for road users. And we notice on the toll roads, there's a patrol vehicle that readily comes to persons' aid. But outside of that, right, we notice that it is the police, we as police officers, and if needs be, the fire department and the ambulance respond. And we all know that the parish is not too equipped with ambulance. I think there is just one ambulance that is currently up and working, right? If somebody know otherwise, I can be corrected. So the emergency assistance, of course, most of the time will come from the police. So emergency first responders must be quick to assist injured person to medical facilities, right? And preferably person like the persons in the also better trained and tending to injuries. Inclusivity of other stakeholders, such as the police and the fire personnel, and that was covered. Moving on to technology, the Jamaica Constabulary Force has implemented the new Smart Check e-ticketing system, right? And that was done so in 2021. Took a while for it to reach most of the divisions, but of course, this project started out in Kingston at the public safety. We want to have a fully digitized, right? However, the system has not been fully implemented as yet. So it is being done on a phase basis. And eventually, all the divisions, stations, sections will get there. But this system will be used to issue tickets to traffic offenders and electronically record the traffic tickets. It will replace the manual traffic ticketing system that is being used. We are doing both. Not all the our personnel in Portland has gone on this training. So there are persons who still have their ticket books, their physical books utilizing. It is designed to be more accurate and efficient. And of course, we want to promote greater driver discipline on the roadways. So when they realize that this system is so efficient, so whatever offense that is committed is immediately entered on a system and can be reflected elsewhere, like at our Inland Revenue Department, Island Revenue Department, then persons, may have a change in their behavior. Continuing, the device, there's a smartphone and a printer as a part of the device, as also, it is portable. So persons can easily move around with it. Right? So it is, the phone is a regular size cell phone, and the printer, just like when you go at a business place and have a small ticket, information is printed on that ticket. And of course, it is accurate and very efficient. And right away, automatically, right away, the persons can get their ticket. And just by the pressing a few buttons. Right? So the other feature of this system now, right? So you can check your vehicle information. So your registration, fitness, insurance. So instead of the officer right away can go on the system and check if it is that. And of course, the other feature of the system, we can use it to check for persons of interest. So when the system has been fully or is fully implemented, it should assist the police greatly in our crime fighting and public safety efforts. Right? So the activities that we do in a bid to improve road safety and to show a presence on the road, and just at times these simple activities make persons, road users, check the speed or change their behavior somewhat. So our speed checks. So again, as a part of the technology, we have our speed radar implements that we use, right? And of course, the persons using this have to be trained to use it so that the system appears to be transparent, because you want an officer who has not been properly trained to go and administer to the public, right? So all these machines and the person use them. We, of course, this mainly is to check persons traveling on our roadways. We check for contraband, of course, as also we check the documents of those vehicles. Is one of the complete operation in terms of the vehicle, only for use it to recover illegal items, as also arrest persons. Spot check, small operation, but it still has the same feature. And the spot check mainly deal with traffic enforcement. And of course, the big one is operations with transport authority personnel, as also our certified officers or examiners. Right, so going forward, we have always been partnering with our transport authority personnel and examiners. We want to improve that in the Yuletide season, and so that persons can see and feel the presence, and we'll have some amount of effectiveness on the roads. So about the statistics in terms of from 2020 to present, and we see where, unfortunately, at this time in Portland, we are above what we were last year. And just to backtrack a little bit, the project that is on the east, when that road is completed, we expect that we may have an increase in accidents. And as such, we have started to look at implementing certain measures. The development is welcome. And of course, we have to try and find a way to police it. Already, we are noticing a few accidents in some of these areas. Clear Spring, all of these have been improved so far. We're noticing that we are having some collision. So the road users just have to ensure that they practice safety, all the way safety, right? So we look at the strategies to improve road safety, enforcement through technologies, enforcement through road policing activities, right? So in concluding this segment, safety begins with all of us, right? Safety is for people. Yes, the vehicles, it is necessary vehicles, but even if those safety mechanisms fail us, if we as individuals, we as people operate in a manner that if something is going wrong, it will minimize the impact, then, right, we are well on our way. So just let us practice safety going forward, not only for the Christmas season or Yuletide season, but let us adapt safety going forward. Right. Thank you very much. So I'll stop here for the time being.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron. Really appreciate this. We're happy that you shared these statistics with us, in addition to the plans that you and your team would be putting in place to ensure that we have a safer roadways going forward for the parish. We do welcome the policing. We do welcome the changes that the Portland Division has always put in place to help us on the roadways, as the credit union has been tasked with providing more motor vehicles to Portlanders. We want them to keep them safe, and we look forward to, as our members come in for the loans for their vehicles, we don't want them to just have the vehicles and lose the vehicles in a few days after getting them. So we want to ensure that they keep themselves safe and keep the roadways safe. And in addition to you, I remember you speaking about the first responders, and that's one of the major things that I've always looked at in comparing the different countries, is how an accident is normally treated when visiting the US or other first world countries. We see the ambulance, the fire department, and the police go out to any accident, whether minor or major. But we do have an issue with resources as it relates to being able to reach everywhere and being able to choose priority as to where we go. We have with us this afternoon to Mr. Omar Barnes, the district officer for the Jamaica Fire Brigade for Portland, and he will really speak to what are some of the things that the Jamaica Fire Brigade would offer for road safety. I know, for one, being in an accident where it was on a slippery roadway and seeing the fire department wash oils from roadway or adding sand to the oils, they play a big part in helping to restore and maintain the roadways to in the post-accident, or to prevent additional accidents on the roadways. And recently, Mr. Barnes, there was a fire to a motor vehicle in Portland, and I can see where the parish had really welcomed the fire department coming around to put out that blaze, as many persons were scared of explosions. So I turn over to you to share on this topic, and to share any general safety tips that you would see to give, not just motorists, but for the public for the season.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to the other persons on the forum. The Jamaica Fire Brigade, as you said, as first responders, we respond to a number of emergencies, and road accidents would be included. And according to our statistics that I have here, since the start of 2023, we have responded to 22 motor vehicle accidents within the parish of Portland. And our response range from, as well, as you said earlier, just washing oil, the spill from the road. We have done extrication, we have extinguished fires throughout all of the numbers that we have responded to. And there are a number of things that we have observed that will sometimes result in motor vehicle accident. And the improper use of the road is one of them, and persons probably not experienced enough, and excessive speed, all of these things are a result. And of course, there are several times that fire is happen as a result of these things. Motor vehicle accident results in fires some of the times. And the one that you mentioned that happened last week, it was as a result of mechanical failure with the motor vehicle. And we are seeing where a number of persons, I think somebody mentioned, I think the officer mentioned that persons are not doing proper checks on their vehicle to ensure that they are in proper working conditions and roadworthy. And so these things can cause fire to happen on the road with motor vehicle. The overheating of engines, arsons for some of the motor vehicles that we have responded to, and fuel system leaks. What we have also seen and we're paying attention to is that persons tend to want to do modifications to their motor vehicles. And when these modifications are being done, sometimes not by a professionals and not being done properly. And so these result in not only accidents, but also fires as a result of the accidents. And then of course, electrical faults. Installing equipment and not installing equipment properly. Radios, amplifiers and other sound systems that you see persons tend to have, and they are not installed properly. And then a simple thing as we have seen happening, somebody not putting in the correct fuse. The motorist was experiencing some electrical problems. And instead of finding out what the problem is, they just change the fuse, put in a bigger one. That does not solve the problem. The problem remains. It's just then the bigger fuse allows for the problem to continue. And if it continue over a period of time, then how the fuse is supposed to operate, it doesn't. And then that also results. We have seen that happening here as well. Persons retrofitting. And, for example, somebody changing the engine from being a diesel engine to a gasoline engine. And that is a problem. Not putting in all the proper or correct mechanisms, the incorrect fuel pumps, all of these things, modifications, all of these things result in systems failure, motor vehicle failure, accidents, and then we come into play. So these are some of the things that we have seen. What we want to encourage person to do, there are times that we will undertake special projects, and we will do from time to time inspections of motor vehicles. So for example, we might go to the bus stops or the taxi stands, and we're doing our special projects, and we'll do a check, and to ensure that one of the things that is required is a fire extinguisher. And not a lot of persons, not a lot of motor vehicles, public and private, should ensure that you have a fire extinguisher in your motor vehicle. That in case something happens, then you at least have that for a quick response. And then knowing the number to the nearest fire station, or at least how to get in contact with the fire department, because you having that number will be able to contact us, and you will get quick response from us, so that we will get there sooner. We minimize damage, we minimize injury to persons, and we do our best to ensure that there is no loss of life. So these are things that we look at. And of course, we are in the season now where persons are doing a lot of things. So we want to encourage persons to use the roads safely, use it wisely, ensure that your motor vehicle is in proper good working condition, keep doing the regular normal checks to ensure that the things are working properly. And as soon as anything happens, you're able to give us a call, so you know our numbers, And then of course, besides from motor vehicle accidents, we know sometimes that we are carrying children. We want to ensure that when you're transporting, when you're carrying your children, seat belts does save lives. It is not just so that the police don't give you a ticket. Seat belt do save lives, and it does minimize the injury that the impact of an injury can have on an individual. And then the car seats for your children, they are important. They are safety mechanisms, and they do minimize injuries to your children. We have seen where children are not properly secured, and within the accident, they are thrown from the vehicle. So all of these things, we would want to encourage persons to ensure that they look at these things, pay attention to them, so that for the safe use of the road. Yes, I do believe that we are responding to too many of these incidents, and they are avoidable. A lot of them are avoidable if we only do things in the correct way as the law dictates that we should, and then we will have less accidents, less incidents, less instances where the fire brigade will have to be called out and to be doing extrication and all of these things when it comes to it. So yes, we too are joining this cause. Very, very happy to be a part of it so that we can share information with the road users, so that we can share all of the things that we have seen based on our experiences. And of course, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Portland Division, in other divisions where we have ambulance units, in Portland, we don't have any at this time. I know the Fire Brigade is looking on us getting an EMS or EMT units within the division, but at this time we don't have. So when we come upon these accidents, sometimes what is a problem is our persons are transported to the hospitals. And it's unfortunate that we do not have the resources that would make it for the best way to transport persons. So we have to be improvising and using other means. And sometimes, of course, that causes further injury to persons. So the best thing to do, practice safety, do the right thing, take some time and ensure that things are in proper working condition. Because that time that you take to put things in proper working condition can ensure that you leave and you arrive to your destination in the safest way possible. Thank you very much. Those are tips on the Jamaica Fire Brigade. And we're always ready to assist and to be a part of stuff like this.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. As we draw to our close here today, just want to again thank all our speakers, Mr. Dante Matthews from the Road Safety Unit, Island Traffic Authority, Mr. Norman Tai, the Transportation Planner from National Works Agency, Abigail Scott, Sales Associate from Kuna Mutual Caribbean, DSP Campbell from the Portland Division, Jamaica Constabulary Force, and Omar Barnes, District Officer from the Jamaica Fire Brigade. We think road safety is a big deal, and it's something that we definitely have to pay keen attention to. As stated before, we don't intend to be offering loans for persons to be stressed out over a motor vehicle that they have totaled a few days after they purchase it. In addition, we don't want to be just that entity in the parish saving money. We also want to be the entity in the parish helping to save lives within the parish. And we are looking forward to having more engaging forums of this nature through the credit union, as we want our parish to be more informed as to ways to keep themselves safe, keep your family safe, and how to provide better for your family and your future, as we aim to guide you into that on that journey as we keep moving ahead, and serving you better. Thank you for partaking in our road and public safety forum. We do look forward to having you on more sessions like this in the future, and we appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and for those viewing, you can feel free to share to your family and friends, as we want you educated, as we keep that number not just below 400, but closer to the 100 or 50 mark per year for road fatalities. Have a blessed day. My name is Ronnie Dane Renford. I'm the marketing officer for Portland Cooperative Credit Union. See you soon.